Actually, it's the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet, get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, he comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here, and try to run this play in the alley.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. You can find me on Twitter at Packers_access. If you want to email us, you can reach us at PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. I'm joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. We got Emilio down here in Tennessee. I just took a picture of the screen because both of you were looking on your phone as we were rolling the intro video. It looks like y'all are praying. You're both like this.
Got to get ready for the game.
Please, God, don't let this show get off the rails tonight. That's what you guys were thinking, right?
Pray, please, dear baby Jesus, give us a Christmas victory.
Just a Christmas miracle, please. All right, so a couple things I want to lead off with here real quick. Tomorrow morning, Good Morning Lambeau, it looks like everything's queued up to have Daryl Thompson on the show, okay? If you guys don't know who Daryl Thompson is, he was a running back for the Green Bay Packers. I think he was drafted in 1990, and he played with them. Gosh, I think it was through 95, 96 maybe, but he was basically on that team in 92, 93, and 94. I know that for sure. And really wanted to get his perspective on like, hey, what was it like? Because 92 was the year where things just kind of turned around, right? It was 9-7, 93, 9-7, 94, 9-7. Then 95, you go a little deeper in the playoffs. 96, obviously you win a Super Bowl. I'm not sure if he was on the Super Bowl team, but regardless, just want to get his take because we're kind of in a similar spot, right? This thing could propel into the next dynasty for the Packers. It could completely tank, right? I think we all agree with that. We're not sure exactly which direction it's going to go in, but just wanted to kind of get his take on that. I thought that would be really cool. Another thing I want to promote here real quick. You guys know Matt Ramage on Twitter, right? At Matt Ramage, at MATTRAMAGE. He's helping raise money in a GoFundMe. It says help area with her battle against leukemia. Okay, so he knows someone who obviously their child is dealing with the awfulness that is leukemia, and they're raising money for that family. So they've got a $5,000 goal. They're already over like $2,000 or something. So anytime you've got a GoFundMe like this, you shouldn't just want to hit the goal. You should blow it out of the damn water, right? That should be the goal. So what we're going to do, I've got an autographed Paul Hornung jersey. I just reached out to Matt right now, and I'm going to donate that Paul Hornung jersey to Matt. So anyone who donates to this GoFundMe, you're going to be entered into a contest to win that jersey, okay? So it's just a way we can flip an awesome piece of memorabilia autographed by Packer Hall of Famer Paul Hornung, the Golden Boy, and help raise some more money for this family, obviously dealing with the horrible situation they're in here with area, facing leukemia. So, man, that's tough. It's tough to even read, man. To think a little kid like that, shouldn't be worrying about, putting their body through whatever it may be, radiation, whatever it is. So let's just see if we can be a blessing and just absolutely force that, right? So let's take care of that. Again, just anybody who donates from this point forward in the GoFundMe, you will be entered into the contest. So I know many people will donate just to donate, and that's just the type of listeners we've got. I know I'm going to donate as soon as we get off of here. It's just cool that we can, like I said, give a piece of memorabilia too. So
and give what you can. Everyone can donate at different levels. You might think you only have a little bit to spare, and it's not much, but trust me, it all adds up. And
if it's
anything you can do, yep, absolutely. Just
whatever the minimum is. Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. I'm glad you said that, Tim, because people hear that sometimes are like, man, I ain't got that much to give. I ain't going to give a dollar. No, $1,
$2, $5, whatever. $1, whatever you have, it all adds up.
Definitely. So, again, just keep that in mind, guys, and we appreciate y'all doing that. All right, let's kind of get into the show here. I was going to go around the horn, but I was already getting started late. I was on the phone with Matt and messaging with Mr. Thompson and trying to get things lined up. I need a bookie's what I need, guys. That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
So Let's talk about the injuries real quick. Obviously, a ton of news came out. We got the injury designations, all that stuff today. Rob Domofsky tweeted out, it's noteworthy that Aaron Jones didn't have any injury designation. And LaFleur also said he feels good about where A.J. Dillon is at with his broken thumb and perhaps being able to play with it. So we may be getting A.J. back. And it sounds like Aaron has no restrictions now, which is really cool. Ryan Wood also tweeted out Aaron Jones not on the injury report after a season basically of being on the injury report might be the freshest he's been since week 1. LaFleur said, quote, he looked good all week. He had no complaints. Hopefully he stays that way, end of quote. Then LaFleur knocked 3 times on the wooden podium, they said. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of where Aaron Jones is at, you know, many Packer fans don't want to talk about playoffs, but the fact of the matter is we're still in the hunt, right?
Right.
Make the playoffs or not, the goal should be to win out, period, case closed, right? End this season on a good note. I think getting Aaron Jones back would be huge, Tim. What do you think, man?
Oh, yeah. And any way he can contribute. You know, we talked about getting him a lot of touches versus a little bit of touches.
Right.
I'll take any sprinkling of Aaron Jones that we can get, especially with Dillon still dealing with that thumb. And, you know, Kenyon Drake kind of being a wild card. You know, we haven't seen much. We don't really know what we're going to get out of him. I mean, I do know that he's got a pretty good grasp of the offense, which is good. But, I mean, you need Aaron Jones out there. You know, he contributes in a lot of ways. You say what you want about production. He's still someone that those defenses have to account for out there. And you can run a lot of stuff off of Aaron Jones as well as just utilizing him in the run game. So hopefully we get him back.
Mm-hmm. You said it there, Tim, and Matt said it in his interview. You know, you might not be as fresh as you were week 1, obviously, but I'll take him not being on that injury report. You love to see it, man. I want to crank that sombrero back out. Let's get it torn up.
Let's go.
I'm excited. You know, let's get him back out there. A couple Texas routes.
Hey, I still dream about that Texas route in Chicago, bro. Angle route, whatever you want to call it. Some people say choice route. I'm like, how the hell do you know it's a choice route? I mean, you're reading his mind. He ran an angle route. But
maybe we could throw him in one of those orbit motions just to see what the defense thinks of that.
The same one that works in Madden, you know, so it might as well work here.
Especially against man covers. That 2
right.
Man, eat it up. You let that corner line up on the outside hip. I'm hammering that Texas all day long, baby. Like Texas Pete out here with the lasso. You kidding me? Some people are going, what the heck's a Texas route? Don't worry about it. It's just an angle route. That's all it is. It could be – I've heard Texas referred to as circle routes, square in routes, cut routes, everything. It's just whatever the OC feels like calling it that day, I guess you could say. All right, let's do this. Injury designations. Rob Domofsky tweeted out game designations for the Packers. Out, Devondre Campbell, Darnell Savage, Luke Musgrave. Doubtful, Christian Watson, Emmanuel Wilson, and Luke Tenuta. Questionable, Jaire Alexander, Dillon, Reed, Wicks, Ford, Rochelle, and Slayton. Reed went outside, but technically did not practice. I think Reed's going to play. You know how that goes, boys. He's listed as questionable, but that guy isn't going to miss. I don't think Wicks is going to miss either. The big one there is going to be Alexander. And I've seen several people tweeting about it. It sounded like Matt was a little more optimistic today than he has been in the past. I know there was some footage of him at practice today too, where it kind of looked like Alexander's a little bit closer, right? And I think they said it's level 2 sprain, or maybe the 2 joint. I can't remember what the technical terminology was, but now we're starting to hear the technicality of the injury there with the shoulder, which Rob Domofsky reported it. He said there is an injury, but there's also a situation with him being upset with the organization or the coaching staff, however he said it. At no point I don't think anybody on this show think Jaire's faking an injury. That wasn't the case at all. It just so happened that he kind of got upset with being I don't know what you want to say here, being silenced a bit in the locker room when talking to the media right around the time he had the injury. So let the rumors run rampant. But there's definitely something there behind the scenes. I think we would all agree on that. But what do you think, man? You think this is the week we see Jaire, Tim? I've been asking this for 3 months now?
Yeah, and for 3 months I've been saying yeah.
This is it.
I said the other night, though, I mean, Ja is a good road player, man.
White jersey game.
Yeah, white jersey game. So this would be a good one. And honestly, it'd be a good primer for him to get back out there against a Carolina team that's not to be taken for granted, but certainly is absolutely beatable. And it might be a good game to just get loose and get your game legs underneath you a little bit, and see if you can really hang out there after not playing for so long. Not just from a physical sense, but it's kind of tough to get it going when you haven't seen the field in a long time. We saw that with Stokes last week as well. So hopefully Ja plays and then is good to go for the rest of the year. But we're doing this week by week, guys. I'll believe it, when I see him with pads and a helmet on 5 minutes before game time at this point. So
what do you think of Emilio? You called it, didn't Emilio? You predicted he's playing this week, right?
Oh, he's playing for sure. He's balling out. He's probably only half a game, I would say, or maybe half snaps, but spaced out throughout the game. But because then if it gets re-aggravated, let's get him off and see what happened. But why not get out there and try? Like Tim said, get out there and just ball out for a little while on the road. Wear that white jersey. Maybe it gets the juju back, and we're good to go.
I mean, you didn't have him on injured reserve like you probably should have. So we might.
That's the thing too, man.
What would be the point of that if you weren't going to try and throw him out there every week?
Right.
So.
And like Coach LaFleur said last week, they miscalculated it, right? They mishandled. I guess not mishandled it, but the evaluation was off. If they thought for a second, hey, he's not going to be able to play for 6 weeks, he would have been on the IR for 4, right?
That could explain some of Ja's frustration too. With
it could be,
they might have been saying, "Hey, we screwed up. Let's not draw too much attention to this." And he's probably like, "Hey, that's on y'all. I mean, all I can do is do my best. And if you guys are dropping the ball, like I'm not gonna, fall on my sword here, But hey, I'm speculating. That may not be true at all. But
hey, if you are speculating, Tim, well then him not flying to New York wouldn't have been as big of a deal if he was on IR, right?
That's true. I mean, nobody's talking about Bakhtiari not playing with us,
Mm-hmm. And when do we? I mean, Luke Tenuta, he's coming off, right? He's coming off IR soon. So I mean, it's all in the past now, right? No rear views.
Yeah.
Yep.
Doug in the chat says, I think Wildy called it, quote, the number 2 joint. Okay. And all you Cheech and Chongs out there, we're not talking about the devil's lettuce. All right. We're talking about the shoulder joint there. All right. Everybody calm down. Chris N in the chat says Watson is a tough loss. The offense is totally different with when he isn't in it, I believe is what he's trying to say. Unfortunately, he's only had 28 catches this year. Yeah, I think we need to accept the fact too, with Watson being out, and if he doesn't play, I want them to just go to Dontavian Wicks. And I'm not saying force the ball to him. I'm saying, hey, look, let's try him in number 1 on the depth chart. Let's build this offense around this young guy. Let's see now's the time to see what he's got. What do you got to lose, right?
Especially when you can put Malik Heath in his spot.
Yeah.
And see what he can. Let's let him cook a little bit too.
Yeah, let's see what we've got there. I love Romeo Doubs, I do, but when you watch Tay Wicks run a route, guys, I always think back to when Chad Ochocinco posted that video on Twitter where he was crying. And they're like, what? I was going, what is this basket case doing? And he was watching Devontae Adams run routes is what it was. And he's like, it's beautiful. And he was literally had tears coming down his face. He was really crying. Like when you watch Tay, somebody did a video on Twitter earlier today, and it was slow motion, him on his breaks, whether it was an in cut, an out cut, a corner, a flag, whatever. It was just like, bro, we have got to get him. He needs to have more snaps than anyone in the wide receiver room right now. That's how sold I am on him. And I know some people are going, Clayton, you're overreacting. I may be, but I would much rather look back in 3 weeks and go, okay, he wasn't quite as good as we thought, than to find out halfway through next year because we're just kind of holding him back. And that's the other thing that Coach LaFleur talked about. I think it was Wildy that asked him, like, for someone to get a concussion in camp, miss all that time, right, and then come right out and pick up the offense like that, what's that say about his football IQ? What's that say about his ability to not only learn the playbook, understand his role? To the best of my knowledge, there's not been one time this year where I was like, Tay Wicks ran the wrong route.
Right.
That was a mental mistake on Tay. Not one time. So he's got a full grasp
on and off the field is what that speaks to right there. He's grinding. Even when he had a concussion, he was learning things that he had no idea. I mean, first year in the NFL, all that. So it's awesome. Yeah. But like you said, why not try him out there? Christian's not out there. If you want Romeo to be your strong second, keep him right there. throw Dontavian Wicks in there at number 1, and then like Tim was saying, bring up Heath or Smorey or Jaden Reed in the slot, all that stuff, and just figure out everything we can see.
Donovan Schilling in the chat says 3rd and Wicks, baby. I love that nickname too, by the way. 3rd and Wicks. Pretty cool stuff. That needs to be on a card somewhere for sure. All right, so this was really cool to see. We talked about Luke Musgrave lacerating his kidney. What game was it? Was that the Chargers game? What game was that? Was that the Chargers game?
Pittsburgh?
Oh,
I can't remember.
Maybe it was.
Musgrave. Anyway,
yeah.
When we seen him kind of go out of the game for a second, and you could see him kind of hunker over, and then he stood up and like, I'm good. And he finished the game. And then now we're starting to find out the details behind the scenes of when they realized how bad it was. And it sounds like he realized it when he got home, or it was after the game at some point. Got a quick video of him in the locker room. I apologize if it's too loud, but I would rather it be too loud than not loud enough. Hopefully it's loud enough that you can hear. Here's Luke Musgrave in the locker room.
When I got home, that was when it was a big issue. So yeah, when I got home.
What was it when you got home?
Just blood in the urine. Yeah. That was a big issue.
How hard was it to finish that game?
Not horrible. I mean, I knew something was probably wrong, but I mean, it's kind of football. You play through pain, and then it usually much more after the game.
What was the recovery process?
Rest.
Was that hard for you?
Yeah, it's tough, just because you can't really do much about it. It's not like an orthopedic thing. So yeah, it's tough.
So basically, I got home, I pissed blood, and I thought, yeah, something's probably wrong. It's football. You play hurt all the time. You just play through it. It's pain. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
His guts are cut open. And this dude is like, yeah, we play through pain all the time. I'm telling you, man, I'm so excited about this tight end room.
He said he got home with pee, and he said he saw blood, so he called Flea, and then Flea's like, he goes, Flea, should I go to the emergency room, or like, do I have to? He goes, yeah, man, if you're peeing blood, we're heading to the emergency room. So
take an aspirin and go to sleep, kid.
Right. So then he said that he got there, and it wasn't getting better right away, so he stayed extra night, and then I think he was saying a level 4 out of 5 or something for severity. Yes. So hopefully he's like he said, he was saying in there, you don't, it's not like you tore your ACL and where your range is, how your strength's back and everything. Is as long as the pain, he said he can play through a little bit of pain, but you don't want to re-injure it and have that for a long term. I mean, the dude's 23, so
yep. And we're talking internal organs here, guys.
Right, exactly.
Vital to your survival, not an ankle or a knee or a shoulder.
Twisted my ankle. Nah, bro, my kidney's bleeding. Got it.
Bad back pain. He said he was shooting up his back, and
I bet, man. I bet. My gosh. So Ryan Wood tweeted this little thread out. I thought this was cool. Ryan Wood's a great follow, by the way. @by Ryan Wood, BY Ryan Wood. Okay, really good follow there. Does a great job. He just provides so many details. I never find myself reading Ryan Wood's tweets and going, "This is just a waste of time." It's always like, "Give me more." He said Luke Musgrave said he might not have finished the Chargers game. There you go. A few weeks ago, if he knew his kidney was lacerated, but it hadn't bled enough to be, quote, astronomically painful, end of quote, until he got home, saw the blood in his urine, and knew pretty quickly something was significantly wrong. Musgrave says he wants to play again this season, quote, "I'll play through pain," he says, as if there was doubt. He also realizes this is a significant injury, and he must be cautious. Musgrave says his lacerated kidney was, quote, level 4 out of 5, end of quote, grade, and he still has pain, so we'll see. Level 4 out of 5. That's insane. Asked Luke Musgrave how hard it was to finish the game with lacerated kidney. Quote, "Not horrible. I mean, I knew something was probably wrong, but it's kind of football." It's kind of football. You play through pain. It usually hurts more after the game. Spoken like a true tight end. I think we got us a dog there, man. Him with Tucker Kraft. Tim, so excited about this tight end room, bro.
When you say things like, not astronomically painful, it's like, a guy like Luke Musgrave is in a lot of pain when he passes out from it. That's probably the only time you're going to get him to say like, "Oh yeah, I mean, that was bad. I mean, I passed out from it." I mean, that guy will run through a brick wall, literally. And it's just good to have guys like that on your team. And, Tucker Kraft is, kind cut from the same cloth, I believe. These two guys are kind of a different breed. They're kind of like a two-headed monster there, but both tough as nails, both willing to play through pain, grit it out. And honestly, both of them have shown improvement since week 1 of this season, regardless of the ups and downs and the struggles that we've had. So I love our tight end room, guys. You never know. We might grab us another one here down the road too, and really have some big depth there at that position, kind of like we do in the receiver room.
Yeah, for sure. Omer in the chat, everybody, his new profile pic is a hit. Everybody's commenting on Omer's profile pic. For those of you on the pod, it's Joe Barry with a Santa hat on. It looks like a Christmas card. I love how the pic is slightly tilted too. You know what I mean? Just to throw a little flair to it. Good stuff, Omer. He says Kraft and Musgrave, tough sons of guns. Both of them with the rest of this team was so tough. You can't ask for more. I mean, these are, I want to say kids. We know they're grown men. I got you, but man, just to go out there, you heard all through training camp too. LaFleur was talking about he would be leaving the facility, and those two guys were sitting in there watching tape together. I know they had the playbooks. What it was, wasn't it? They were going through their iPad trying to get the playbook down. It's just so exciting.
And hopefully that keeps dripping down. As this team grows, hopefully that toughness and that sort of attitude that if they're just sitting in there, just grinding tape, doing all that at night, working, extra hard on the field, all of that. Hopefully that just carries over and everybody starts to pick up on that, and it turns into something that they roll with.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Doug in the chat said, quote, "I knew something was probably wrong," end of quote. Ended up with a level 4 laceration. LO, you think? No doubt. Let's see here. Omer in the chat said, "Barry loses this game, the mob will be out with pitchforks on Monday to get him." LOL. Mm-hmm. I love how it's just Barry that's going to lose the game. No one else. I think you word it perfectly, Omer, because that's pretty much what's going on with the fan base right now. As far as the pitchforks, buddy, they're already out. As far as the fan base, it's pretty unanimous. As a matter of fact, I've got a clip I'm going to play. This is embarrassing. Listen, I don't want this to turn into a rant cast. This show's never going to be a rant cast. We don't want it to be a rant cast, but I do just want to continue to point out from time to time just how silly the fan base can be. And it's why it's important that the level-headed fans need to be louder than the not-so-level-headed fans. This was on Wildy and Tausch earlier today. They did a poll, guys. They did a poll. And they'll explain the question, but essentially what it was you have to pick one of these scenarios. Win out and make the playoffs and keep Joe Barry as your DC, or lose out, miss the playoffs so you can fire Joe Barry. And what do you hear the results? Here we go.
Would you rather lose out and have Joe Barry get fired, or win out and make the playoffs, but Joe Barry remains the defensive coordinator? It was polled at 4:21 p.m. on Sunday, the 17th of December. It got 1,445 votes.
Without a Wildy retweet, right?
Yeah, I had no idea this was polled.
That's a powerful poll.
Yeah. Lose out, Joe Barry gone. 84%.
Why is Big Cat sending it from someone else when when we sent it from our own account 6 days ago?
You're going to have to take that up with him.
Big Cat,
He's
what
off
are you doing, Big Cat?
Jesse, thanks for finding the correct poll. Good work.
You're welcome, Mr. Wildy.
16% win out, keep Barry.
Isn't that a crazy stat?
Yeah, I would think the benefits of winning out and your young team making the playoffs and the excitement and the momentum and all the great things that come with it, that speaks to how much people don't want Joe Barry as the defensive coordinator anymore. I mean, because that is illogical. You would rather your favorite football team lose out, finish the season on a 5-game losing streak, than win their last 3 and make the playoffs. Playoffs?
Seems kind of absurd.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would disagree vehemently with that position. But what do I know? What I do know.
All right.
16%.
So we've got it confirmed. 84% of the fan base are morons. That's
84% of the fan base.
Well, 84% of people polled in the poll.
Very
throw the whole fan base under the bus.
Very well said. Very well said, Tim. I'm glad you said that.
So 84% of those 1,200 people are idiots.
And that's the thing too. Like sometimes when you do a poll, if it's like 60-40, okay, there's probably some trolls in there too. There are probably some Bears fans, voting.
Right.
84%. And then you go on Twitter and it's like, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was 90%. But the fact that you're willing to say, I would rather my football team lose 5 games in a row when you've got a young quarterback, the youngest team in the league that's trying to create this momentum you ask any football player, any coaching staff, any general manager, momentum is created in the moment, but it damn sure carries over from year to year. I mean, you want to talk about a Super Bowl hangover when you go from the top of the heap, losing as the second best team in the league, and how hard it is to get that momentum back that you created when you start the next season. And we're okay with losing 5 games in a row just so you could say, ha, I was right. He sucks. Get him out of here. I'm sorry, man. I sat here and said I don't want to turn into a rant cast, but man, I could feel my blood like getting hotter. What the hell are we doing as a fan base? Like seriously, we are more hung up on, I just want this guy out of here, than actually winning and having success. What it does, sadly, it proves exactly what I was saying about, I don't know, halfway through the season when I said there are people that would rather this team lose so they can say I was right than be able to go, hey, man, I'm glad I was wrong. Let's go. Let's take off. Let's win this thing. It's mind-boggling to me. I don't know.
And this is just the online Twitterverse and social media fan base, because I can all but guarantee if I got up tomorrow and walked around the streets of Green Bay and conducted a poll in person with people on the street and asked them that same question, I guarantee you we would have different results. I think a lot of the people that sit online, you kind of get caught in that time loop of just narrative. And, if you're a fan of a team, you want them to win, period. Right. Like, we want to win now.
Yeah, you want us to go undefeated, but
yeah. So Clayton, you're right. It's not about being right. I would rather be proven wrong all the way to a Super Bowl than be right, watching the playoffs on TV.
Imagine that happened, Tim. But what would they say if we would just march our way right on down there? Would we still fire him at the end if we bring home the Lombardi? Would we still fire him?
We talked about this, right? And I think a lot of these people may actually think if we for some inexplicable reason drop another game this weekend, they still think that Joe Barry will be fired next week. And it's like, guys, our coach basically said we're not making any changes. So suck it up, Buttercup out there. Root for your team, hope for success, and let the business end of this whole situation handle itself in the offseason like it will. If you want an 84% prediction here, I'd say there's an 84% chance or better, regardless of how this season turns out, that Joe Barry's not our defensive coordinator next year. So just relax, cheer for your team, stop worrying and obsessing about being right. That's a first-class ticket to Depressionville, for real. Worrying about being right all the time, guys. Just enjoy this team, man.
Mike Hebring with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I'm greedy. I want both. Win out and Joe out. Hey, I completely agree, Mike. I completely agree. Obviously, that wasn't one of the choices in the poll. But, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know where we're at as a fan base now. I'm telling you, it feels just like Aaron Rodgers last year. It's like when a certain number of the fan base gets tired of someone, it's okay. I'm going to have to kick and scream and make a complete ass out of myself until he's gone. And then when he's gone, guess what? Let's find someone else to kick and scream about.
What's it going to be? Special teams next?
Yeah,
they'll probably stay off the offense for a year, and we'll probably go from defense to this year to special teams next year. Offense maybe right after our draft, sort of thing.
Yeah, Mike, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. Chris in the chat said this fan base isn't happy unless there's something to complain about. The minute our defense is top 5, they will turn on the offense or special teams. Always something. It kind of feels like that.
We could go 16-1, win a Super Bowl, and they'd be complaining about the one game we lost.
Right.
Chris in the chat said that's ridiculous. Just shows Packer fans as a whole are no better, no smarter than any other schlub Bears fan guy. That's the thing too. We've always made fun of Bears fans for these type of things, right?
Yep.
And you remember in the offseason, all we heard, we had to hear it all offseason. You're about to find out what it's like to not have a Hall of Famer. Yeah, you're about to see what the rest of the league's, having to handle or having to deal with. And it's like, nah, this fan base is different. Here we are. We would rather lose 5 in a row and miss the playoffs so we could fire a guy than it's just mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. I heard that, and I'm telling you, I about dropped my phone. I was like, I thought it probably 60-40, man. It's pretty toxic out there right now. 84%. 84%. Omer says, we prayed for a deed to only give up 20 points. Very true, man. We just got to be good enough, just good enough. And it is amazing how last week was hands down the worst coaching job Joe Barry's ever had. It's the worst the defenses looked under Joe Barry. Maybe it's the worst the defenses looked since the Ted Thompson era, to be honest with you, right? It looked that bad. The miscommunication, the blown coverages, the soft calls, all those things. Defensive coordinator to the players all the way down the line. The head coach not stepping in all the way across the line. And with that right there, it's the worst performance. This is what we're talking about. This is how bad it is. That was one game this year. One game. Like, and to sit here and pretend like I'm not sitting there pretending like, oh no, the defense has been great. We talked about it all year long. You were borderline top 5 in points per game. You were top 10 in points per play. And with everything else factored in, you're probably somewhere between 15 and 17 best defense in the league.
And what's our red zone defense ranked prior to last week as well?
Exactly. Wes Hodkwitz, God love his heart, he tweeted something out in the middle of a game saying that I think we were second in the league in points allowed off of turnovers, meaning when our offense turned the ball over, we were second best in the league in preventing points scored. Like those things don't matter. Situational football does not matter. All that matters is DVOA. And then from week to week, if we want to bitch and moan about the rushing yards, we'll do that when it's convenient. But when you hold a running back to, whatever it was a couple weeks ago, where we held the running back to, 3.8 yards a carry, don't mention it that week because we got diced apart in the passing game. I thought the rushing yards were everything. What are we doing here? Right? Like, it's just, again, Barry needs to be gone. I agree. If I'm running the organization, I'm going to go out and try to find the next great young defensive mind that's coaching a specific scheme that's on the uptick, not on the way back down, not something that was good 2 years ago, and try to keep this thing moving in the right moment, in the right direction. But I'm telling you right now, if someone asked me that question, they said, hey, look, you can control everything right now. You can control whether you go to the playoffs and win 3 games in a row at the end of the season and create momentum for the next year for your young quarterback, this young offense, the coaching staff that, people forget the coaching staff as humans. Forget Joe Barry. Think about LaFleur for a second. Think about Rebrovich. Think about, all the way across the line, Stenavich, everybody wants him fired too from time to time. It just depends on what week it is. Like, momentum is important, and you would rather be right than gain that momentum. It's mind-boggling. Absolutely mind-boggling. Let's see here. Doug in the chat says, Clayton, I saw your tweet about Matt Canada. I laughed out loud. Did you guys see that tweet by chance?
That Pittsburgh actually got worse?
Yeah. They fired Matt Canada. They were chanting fire Matt Canada, and since they fired him, it's 2 points. They're scoring 2 points less per game. Immediately, guess what happened? You remember when I talked about putting the what was it? The Robert Saleh tweet up going, how the world you give up 64 points to a division rival in the 2 times you played them this year? And people immediately went, oh, okay, you're just cherry picking stats. They got a horrible offense. I put that up about Matt Canada. Guess what people said? Well, that's because they're having to play with Mitch Trubisky now. Gotcha. Let's continue to make – now, remember when people tried to bring up the excuse for the Packers defense and how many starters were missing? Keep making excuses for him.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You see how it works? Cracks me up. It absolutely cracks me up. Anyway, Ron in the chat, appreciate you, buddy. He says, not the intelligent part of the fan base. I agree. And then 2-0 for this says, I'm all for fans fanning how they want to fan. Amen. But if at any time in your fandom you unconditionally hate the team, you aren't a fan. And I'm telling you right now, it just embarrasses the rest of the fan base.
And we can go ahead and say it too. Most of these social media type fans, they only know the Aaron Rodgers era. Let's be honest. You know, you have people that have cheered for this team longer than I have, longer than you have, Clayton, that understand what it means to be a Packer fan. And this is where that term, you know, the overly loud and vocal minority is who these fans are. And it's making us all look bad. It really is.
Yeah. And some people were probably saying, well, why are you talking about it? Because I want to out these people. That's why. I want people to know, like when I literally put a tweet up earlier in the year and said, it blows my mind that people are actively rooting against the Packers just to be right. And you should have seen the responses. Ain't nobody saying that. You're overreacting. 84%.
Yeah.
I've seen it all year long. I should screenshot the DMs sometime. I should do that just to show y'all some of the DMs I get. But Donovan Schilling in the chat says, guys, 84% means nothing. There's still a good percent of our fan base. I don't know, maybe somewhere around
65%.
65%. That's what that don't even want love. We all went through this same thing through the Favre-Rodgers transition. RELAX, as a wise man once said. Appreciate it, Donovan. Good comment there, buddy. Let's just try to rein it in if we can, fellas. That's all I'm asking. Let's try to be better fans. That just blew my mind, man. I couldn't believe it. I love watching Towser's reaction too, as a player, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine thinking that, like seeing that you want us to lose 5 in a row. Like, imagine what the locker room would think about that. Now, keep in mind, these are the same fans that are probably in Devondre Campbell's tweet replies, right?
Yep.
That are talking about him being soft. You suck. Get out of Green Bay. You know, this guy's trash. He's washed up. All those things, right?
That's how you talk about players on a team that you love,
right,
that you cheer for. I don't understand it.
You're actively rooting for the team to lose, and you're going in and criticizing a player for playing hurt. And we wonder why people don't want to come to Green Bay as free agents. Like, I know people like to talk about Rodgers in that regard, but that he just couldn't recruit or what have you. But telling you, man, maybe it's
what did we do? We did chalk talk, right? And we saw some plays, and we broke down the plays, you know, and we kind of dragged the play, not the player. Mm-hmm. We said, gee, it looked like Drake could have closed out there and got that pick, you know. It's not saying we didn't drag him. Right. And then lo and behold, we find out what the deal was. The guy's playing hurt. So you're going to lose a step or two, you know.
From what I understand, it's a neck injury, right? Like they said, shoulder neck issue. So, bro.
Along with the ankles that he's been dealing with all year on top of it.
And those fans that are talking, he's soft, he's better go. The same ones, they sleep wrong, wake up with a crick in their neck, and they call in sick to work.
Yeah.
Guys.
Same fans that were spiraling when we went on our last 4-game losing streak. And like, you want to go on a 5 this time?
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get that at all.
Zach just became a YouTube member of the PTA Posse. Hey, welcome to the crew, Zach.
What's up, Zach?
Make sure we get you entered into a contest to win autographed memorabilia. Just sent out 2 more autographed jerseys today to fans that won those. So, welcome to the Posse, man. Appreciate you joining. Appreciate you supporting the stream. It's absolutely awesome. Let's see here, real quick. Let's do a quick plug here for the official sports book of Packers Total Access, BetUS. If you guys want to support the stream and do it in a way that costs $0, all you got to do is click on the link in the description of this YouTube video, and that'll send you directly to BetUS. By using that link, it shows them that we sent you to their website and puts us in better standing with them. You know, when you kind of talk about BetUS and the platform they've got, you got to talk about the spread. You got to talk about the upcoming game. The market has shifted quite a bit, guys. You know, earlier I was talking about how BetUS actually had the Packers as 6-point favorites. The market continues to shift. I think PFF at one point had it at 5.5. They're not a bookie, but they kind of followed the big bookies, the big sports books across the country. Right now, the market is now Packers are 4-point favorites. Okay, and the way it sits, 64% of the cash is on +4 for the Panthers for 4 points, and the Panthers basically using those 4 to cover the spread there. And then with tickets, 67% of the tickets are on the Packers. When you talk money line, let's see, 86% of the cash on the money line is on Green Bay, and 52% of the tickets are on the Panthers. So the money is on Green Bay to win outright, but it looks like the money is saying essentially that the Panthers are going to lose the game, but by no more than 3.5 points, if you will. So it's going to be a close game. It's kind of what the public is predicting when it comes to the gambling side of things. Again, now they being BetUS has the Packers as 4.5-point favorites is where they're sitting. You know, we like to give you guys a quick prop bet every week. This is the one that stood out to me. According to PFF's Edge, 21.8%, all three bars full here. They're saying take Tommy Tremble, the tight end for the Carolina Panthers. I think his name's Tommy. It's tight end Tremble for the Carolina Panthers, under 1.5 receptions. That's looking like one of their best bets, if not their best bet. Now, when you go to BetUS, you can find Tremble on the right side there, under plus 142 if you take the under on 1.5. You could probably find a couple more to put a little parlay together, but I would stick with Tommy Tremble. That's the one that I feel like is probably the best bet. I'll be putting action on it, but as we always say, guys, don't ever bet a single dollar that you can't afford to lose, okay? Make sure you gamble responsibly. Again, that's BetUS, the official sports book of Packers Total Access, now celebrating their 30th year in business. So talk about the summary real quick for the game, guys. Do a little preview of this Packers-Panthers. I think it's going to be closer than people think it's going to be. No matter who wins out, I think it's going to be one of those games where you got a defense trying to get their feet back under them. You've got an offense that's been pretty much horrible all year in the Carolina Panthers, although their defense has played pretty well if you look at the PFF grades alone. The big matchup here, though, it's got to get you excited, Tim, when you look at quarterbacks comparisons like this, man. Jordan Love was the main question mark we needed answered. The main question we needed answered going into this season, 77.1 compared to the number one overall pick, Bryce Young, at 51.7. We've definitely got the edge when it comes to the quarterback room. Now, when you look at the overall ranking according to PFF, team-wise, they've got the Packers ranked 18th. The Carolina Panthers are ranked 31st. The power rank for defense on Green Bay has plummeted now to 25th. Carolina's is 17th. And then you've got power ranking on offense. Green Bay is 12th. They're knocking on the door for a top 10 offense according to PFF, which is really cool. And then the power ranking on offense for the Carolina Panthers is 30th. What sticks out to you here, Tim, when we're kind of looking at this game on the surface? You got the quarterback matchup, right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's not a knock on Bryce Young. He's still coming along. But yeah, I'm happy to see Jordan progressing the way he is. And this is going to come down to the defense. You know, our D has got to show up. I think this is going to be a good bounce back game for us. But you know, they're going to take that. They're going to take that to heart. That slip into power ranks. Not that they're just, you know, looking at these metrics constantly or anything. But you know, they know the word is out about this defense right now, and everyone in that locker room knows that they're better than they played last week. So I'm looking for this defense to show up and show out here in Carolina. And, you know, if the offense can keep putting points on the board like I think they will, I mean, this game doesn't have to be as close as we think it could be, you know, if we get a good performance out of this defense. So to me, it's all on the D. You know, I don't get into the weeds too much with the, you know, with these particular metrics, but it is interesting to look at how this is shaping up going into Sunday.
Yeah. What do you think there, Emilio? How you feeling about it looking at this, man?
I like everything Tim was saying. It is going to be a huge defensive game, but I also would be completely fine with the offense. Just like Matt just needs to start hucking the ball over the field. You know, just let Jordan Love just hum it around and see how it goes. Like you said, get some reps to Wicks, get all that. We're not going to want to run Aaron Jones into the ground. You know, who else we're going to have at back. So I think it's going to be another 40-pass game. I do. I think he's going to throw it a lot. And I think that Matt's going to want to, if he's looking out for Joe or anything like that, I mean, why wouldn't you just want to put as much distance between, you know, you and the opposing team as you can? So I think he's just going to not let up. I think he's going to hum it around.
Yeah, and you know, think about the running game too. Like you're looking at the San Francisco 49ers. They got some of the best productivity in the running game from the running back position this year. San Francisco's right toward the top. And then I think it was the LA Rams' running back from last night. I can't remember his name. His mother was there in attendance, all that. They did a big story on him. He is second in the league in rushing, I believe. I think Christian McCaffrey might have been first. I know they mentioned those two names together. So you're seeing both the McVay system and the Shanahan system, although they're from the same tree, they're very different. They're both having success running the ball. We're struggling to run the ball, right? I personally think it's because of personnel, not because I'm so smart and I think that's the case, but it's because that's how Mike Wall thinks. Is like when you look at San Francisco, man, they can run any kind of run scheme they want. There's a bunch of dogs on that offensive line, especially at the tight end position there too. And then you got Juszczyk at fullback, the whole 9 yards. But Red Mo said in the chat that 77.1 is beautiful. Talking about Jordan Love's PFF grade. Completely agree there. Let's look at the offensive side of the ball real quick if we can here. So when we're in 12 personnel, you look at the matchups here. Rasheed Walker at left tackle, 69.5. Elton Jenkins, 66.8. Josh Myers, 61.1. Now the 20th highest graded center. John Runyon at 53.8, the 57th highest grade guard. Zach Tom, still the 11th highest graded tackle. I think he was 3rd highest graded right tackle at 79.5. Tucker Kraft now up to 60.5. Guys, he's 33rd now. According to PFF, the 33rd highest graded tight end in the league. And then, of course, Josiah DeGuara, if they're projecting him to be healthy, 52.4, still continuing to struggle. When you look at their front on the other side, you've got Gross Matos at 68.7 at the edge position, right outside linebacker. They obviously play a 34 just like us. You got Williams at right end, 50.1. Tuttle at nose tackle, 50.4. Brown at 85.3, an absolute stud at left end, 7th highest graded defensive lineman according to PFF. And then you got Brian Burns at 78.2 at left outside linebacker. Okay, so just kind of looking at that on the surface there, what do you guys think about 12 personnel here, Tim? You know, the big weak spot seems to be there on the left side, right? And we've talked about it all year long, but for whatever reason, we kind of out-scheme ourselves when it comes to running the football, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think seeing Horn and Wicks there as a possible matchup, kind of lending credence to your point. You know, throw them out there against their best corner, and let's see what we can do. I got a feeling that Horn's going to have his work cut out for him trying to handle young Don Wick out there doing his thing. But yeah, you know, the running game is going to be something that I feel like I've said this multiple times this year. We just have to run enough to make them believe we're running. You know, we cannot get away from the run long enough that when we're trying to set up this play action and things like this, that it doesn't work because they don't believe you're going to run. We saw that last week. We force-fed Aaron Jones the ball the entire first quarter, and then it just disappeared along with most of our run games. So I think we need to be effective on the ground, effective enough to, like Jacob, like Emilio was just saying, let Jordan air this ball out, man. You know, give him some room to throw here on some of those Texas routes that Emilio likes so much.
Definitely. Tim, you called it, man. Let's see some of that. They do have a good safety too up there, Woods. So Jordan's got to be a little careful. But again, it's all things that they're learning, all things that they've seen this year. They're growing from it. So it's cool to see. They do have a strong, right side there with Brown and Burns holding off that right edge. So I really hope Tom holds up well. And the right guard's got to be ready to help pick up. You know, we got to make sure that stays kind of sound to Sunday so that it doesn't get out of hand and Love's running for his life back there. But I know the chat was saying, their Panthers defense is decent. So it's not like we're not going up against 32nd ranked. So we got to still kind of show up and play.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, you mess around. I mean, they beat the Falcons just now, right?
Right.
And they did it running the football. Right, exactly. So any given Sunday, man, and they're looking to come in here and attack a wounded dog that is the Packers, right? They want to guess what they want to do, guys. It's hard to believe, but they're trying to create momentum to end the year too, because it's a real thing. Yep. I guarantee you their fan base isn't saying lose out. I don't know, maybe they are. Who knows? Anyway, when you look at the linebacker position, you've got a 49.2, and then you got Love you? Huh?
Is it Love?
I don't know. Lavu, there it is. Tim got it, I think. 75.0, 24th highest graded linebacker. So according to PFF, got one pretty solid inside linebacker. The other is Dookie. All right. When we look at the 11 personnel here, let's kind of break it down. Let's go to our 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets. This looks a lot better than 12 to me. It has all year, to be honest with you. But we got Wicks, 76.3, now the 28th highest graded wide receiver. Jaden Reed, 70.2 in the slot. Dobbs at 68.8 on the other boundary. They're typically playing the Z. Now, when you look at the cornerbacks and how they match up, you got Jackson 62.6 over Wicks at 76.3. You got Hill at 67.4 over Reed at 70.2. And you got Horn on the opposite side, their best corner, 81.1, solid, stout corner there. Young corner, great corner. one solid corner, but there's really no big hole when it comes to the secondary, in my opinion. Even when you go to the safety position, you got Woods, the 6th highest graded safety at 82.1, and Bell on the strong side at 64.5. So going to be one of those games you got to protect the football. I think it's going to come down to turnover differential as always, and what kind of momentum are you creating in the middle 8. It's going to be a close game. I see this one. If I was betting on this game, I'm not even going to say it. I just say it's going to be a close one. I'll just leave it at that. All right. What do you guys think about 11 personnel, Tim? Makes you a little cautious, right? That you can see where they're making their hay is in their nickel set. You know, they're looking a little more stout than having those big guys up front there with that 34 front against your 12 personnel. Nickel looking pretty good here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about Rome earlier. This would be a nice coming up game for him. We haven't seen a big game out of him in a while, other than the steady Eddie type of catches that he makes. I still feel like he's probably the best receiver we have on the team at the contested catches. He tends to come down with those. So I think if he can play well and draw enough attention in that secondary that, Wicks and Reed are going to eat. And like I said, pepper in some Malik Heath as we go down the depth chart too. But yeah, what we're really saying with all these breakdowns, just, is that we can't take this team for granted, guys. Their defense, there's some playmakers on that defense. I mean, they're not loaded, but we have to respect our opponent, not fear them. But I would hate to take this matchup for granted, because there's no gimmies in the NFL for sure.
Yeah. Chris in the chat said, guys, I watched Mike Wall's Carolina preview. Their defense is stout. This is absolutely no pushover. Big matchups for Gary and Preston versus their tackles. Let's go ahead and jump into that side of the ball real quick. 34 base. All right. Let me put that chat down real quick there, Chris. So when we go to our 34 base, obviously they're in 12 personnel. Looking at their offensive line, you got Aquanu on the left side, 62.3. Then you got Mays at left guard, 65.9. You got Bozeman in the center position at 63.0, pretty much right there on par with how Josh Myers has played. Jensen at right guard, 40.5. I'm assuming that someone's banged up there at the right guard position because they don't have his actual ranking there. Maybe he is a true starter. I don't know, but that's definitely the weakest link in the offensive line. And then you got Moulton on the right at the right tackle position at 72.1. Like we said, Trimble at tight end, 54.6. And you got Sullivan, their backups, actually grading out higher there. If you go to 12 personnel, 64.0. When you look at our front five, right? And I think I had it marked here. Our boy Mike Ebering said, who has had the better career so far, Gary or Brian Burns? I don't know what the stats show, but when you watch the tape, when you look at the grades and you look at the amount of pressures, as far as sacks, I don't know, Mike. But you know how I feel about that, and I feel like we probably disagree when it comes to how important sacks are. For me, I'd much rather have somebody have more pressures and less sacks than more sacks and less pressures. That's just me. I want you affecting the pocket consistently, not just getting a sack here or there. Next thing you know, you look up, you got 10 sacks on the year, that type of thing. Yeah, I would say it's got to be Gary personally, but I haven't dug too deep into Burns. I know Burns last year underperformed because they were actively shopping him from what I understood. But when you look at our front five, Preston Smith, 70.1, Kenny Clark, 67.6, TJ Slayton, 63.2, Devontae Wyatt, 65.3, Rashawn Gary, 81.2. Emilio, what sticks out to you here, man, when you look at the defensive front against their offensive line here in 12 personnel?
We've talked about it all year, man. It starts in the trenches. I hope Slayton can go. That'll help. Solidify the center there. But Wyatt, let's have a game on. Let's have a game on the 42 guy. Gary, we want to see him coming off the edge. We need to see the like you said, it doesn't need to be sack production, but let's get some pressures on him. Let's force Bryce, to think fast, think on his feet, make a mistake. We need all of that. If that's what people want from this defense, let's make an explosive play. Let's get a strip sack, fumble. Enikbari did it last game. Let's do it again. Let's get 2 turnovers. Let's double it. They need to ball out. They really do.
Yeah. When we switch it up to the nickel formation here against their 11 personnel, Thielen, hands down their best receiver, plays in the slot primarily when you're in 11 personnel, them being obviously the Panthers. When you look at our secondary, though, I get so pissed off every week when I look at the secondary grade and think of Rasul Douglas, man. I get angry every week, and I'm so tired of getting angry over it. But Stokes, if he is healthy enough to go, 46.8 is his grade right now. Some people are going, it's just because he hurt. Guys, before he got hurt last year, he's grading out in the 50s. We got to call it like you see it. Like you can't cherry pick PFF when it tells the story you want it to tell. You want to talk about it, and then when it proves you wrong, just say, "Oh well, it's just PFF." I don't play like that. I'm sorry. Stokes 46.8. That's looking more like a bad first round pick, kind of like the Savage pick, to be honest with you. Nixon's now down to 58.9. Carrington Valentine, don't put a lot of blame on him. He's at 59.8. He's a 7th round rookie trying to cut his teeth. When you look at the secondary, and knowing how they played last week, if anybody's going to get hot this week, probably going to be Thielen in the slot. Look for those trip sets. Look for that pre-snap motion. Look for them to go quad and empty out. Look for them to go to empty 11. Heck, they may go empty 12, get you in your 34, get you really vulnerable, right? And then empty out. And look for Thielen and spacing. Anytime you play a zone-heavy defense, the goal is to overload that zone. Overload that zone. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they're going to try to do, man. So, Tim, what do you think, man? 11 personnel here against our secondary. Obviously, Rudy Ford, the only bright spot in the secondary. It's funny how he couldn't even get on the field early in the year when he was healthy. 69.8, and then you got Jonathan Owens, 57.1.
Yeah, I go right to that slot matchup there with Thielen and Keyshawn. We've seen Thielen light us up out of the slot in his days in Minnesota too, and we're no stranger to that matchup, and it makes me a little nervous. I feel good though about Rudy Ford back there, and hopefully, Jo is, every once in a while we get a really good game out of him. I don't want to write him off completely. If anybody's due back there, it's probably Jo. Make some plays, but defensively, that's what we have to do. We have to make it as difficult as we can on this Carolina offense, and it's going to come down to creating turnovers, man, making some plays, being +1, +2, giving ourselves a chance to win. But, just matchup wise, man, I got to see, we got to see a big game from Kenny Clark, man. We got to see a big game from him. And this is a good opportunity against that offensive line that, we can beat that offensive line, for sure. But, as far as the coverages, guys cannot be miscommunicating. They got to work together, play their quarters. They have to execute because, the heck with Thielen, we could have, one of these, who was that, Mingo over there, 55.9 PFF grade, anyone could end up having a day if we're not playing properly. So, hopefully, like Devondre Campbell alluded to earlier this week, that, hey, they like the game plan. They're working through it. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Guys got to go out and execute.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Let's wrap it up in the chat here. Jim says, I'm with you, Clayton, on Rasul, a real head scratcher. Make it make sense. Someone please make it make sense. And please don't tell me 4th round value, because I will throw something against the screen, for God's sakes. Donald Krieger in the chat says, Campbell is already ruled out for the game. WTH, yeah. He played hurt last week. Guys, he looked bad last week. Like, if that's the level of play you're going to get, if he's that hurt with that neck injury, shoulder injury, whatever it is, let him sit it out, man. Let him get healthy, for God's sakes, Right. And kudos to him for going out there and trying, rather than, he shouldn't have played in the first place. He cost us the game. I just don't choose to look at it like that, man. Dude out there literally putting his neck on the line, and we're going to dog him for having a bad game. It is what it is. But that's why he's ruled out already. He said, man, he's tired of playing hurt and everybody picking him apart. I think he was talking about the fans. Other people believe he's talking about the coaching staff, although he's come out and praised Matt LaFleur. Joe Barry's praised him, said he's 1,000% a leader. But, everybody's got their differing opinions on that. It could be a little both, too. Who knows, right? Badger Trio says, I just think the Packers defense wants to prove people incorrect about what's been said. That's the thing, too. Like, forget the coaching staff for a second. Look at what people are saying about you. If you really are a bunch of dogs and a bunch of first-round picks, Tim, like, have a little pride. Like, what are you just going to let everybody dog you? I mean, it was a talking point everywhere in the national sports media. I hope Matt LaFleur's got that stuff on loop in the locker room on the TVs and stuff.
Right.
Just people just talking absolute trash about this defense. And I want to see those guys come out. I want to see Bane Gary, like someone else said in the chat here. Who was it that said it? Yeah, Bane Gary with 3. You seen him sitting on the bench after that game, ticked off. And listen, you go back and watch the New York Giants tape, you could see what happened. I think it was Michael Lombardi pointed it out too. We talked about rushing upfield. Tim, they weren't attacking the pocket. They were rushing around, creating those running lanes. Attack the pocket, compress that pocket. I'm okay with a quarterback scrambling out of the pocket and making a big gain. I got you. But just to rush upfield and let him step up in the pocket and take off straight upfield. And again, we were playing a lot of man coverage that game. That's why it happened. Now the very next game, what we switch to zone. Now we're blowing coverages in zone. It doesn't matter what the call is. There's miscommunication everywhere. But I want to see the same thing with Bane Gary, man. Come out and look at this right here. Derek K also says LVN 2 more sacks. LVN, I think by the end of this year, this last 3-game stretch, if he stays healthy, I think he's going to be one of those guys we go, all right, we got us something there, dude. That's going to be a leader on this team. And I love Preston Smith, but I would really like to see LVN get the majority of the snaps next year because he is too good to keep off the field. You know what I mean? So, parting thoughts, Tim. Let's go around the horn here once, man. What do you think? How are you feeling about it? I know you're not going to be here for Good Morning Lambeau, right?
Yeah, I won't be here tomorrow morning.
Gotcha.
Hopefully be back for the evening show, though, for sure.
Got it. Good stuff. What do you think, man? Talk to me.
I think it's cool that you've got Mr. Darryl Thompson joining us.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Joining you guys in the morning, that is. I won't be there, but I will be watching it back. The beauty of YouTube, right? So hopefully you can twist his arm and get him to hang around a little longer and talk some old school ball. But yeah, man, my head is focused on this matchup this Sunday, and it's going to come down to our defense. Mike Hebring made some good points today about like we have right here. Our offense is better than the Panthers offense, but the Panthers defense is playing better than our defense has played as of late. And so at the end of the day, man, it's going to come down to our D showing up. I think Jordan and the boys on offense are going to be able to move the ball and find a way to score, but it might not be a 40 burger, guys. It might not be 30 burger.
Might be a 10-7 game.
Yeah, or 20-17, something like that. So, hopefully it's 20-3 because our defense just shows up. That's the kind of mentality I have. The D is going to be the X factor here on Sunday. And I agree with you, Clayton. I think the players are tired of the talk and at least the way they're being perceived right now. And hopefully that they show up and show out on a road trip here down to Carolina. So, and hopefully Josh sees the field too. Fingers crossed for Jaire. And to just real quick, I saw someone mention something in the chat about if Jaire is healthy, do we move Stokes to the slot and make a change rather than Keyshawn, because Keyshawn's been struggling at the slot. I'll be honest, I'd rather see Ja play the slot than Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes is a boundary corner, plain and simple. I think Ja's a little more versatile, even coming off of injury. But at the end of the day, I don't anticipate too many major changes there in personnel, barring injuries or that kind of crap. So hopefully the guys that we have show up and play. Green dot for Quay Walker. I'm putting it on the defense, guys. So Quay and Zay in the middle there. That's going to be the X factor on D. I think we'll get good play from our front and our edge guys, but secondary's got to show up in this one.
Got to, yeah. We kind of glossed over it real quick. I'll hit it one more time real quick. Inside linebacker Quay Walker now to 58.4. Isaiah McDuffie 59.4. Obviously, Devondre Campbell out. So yeah, it's going to be a key matchup there for sure. Donovan Schilling in the chat said, "All I want for Christmas is a Packers dub. Nothing else matters, man, unless you're a part of 84% of the fan base, evidently." But I digress here. Sam in the chat, you pointed this out to me, Emilio. Sam Shaver in the chat said, "Had one of my lacrosse players lacerate his kidney. He showed me the MRI, and that thing was blown up like a broken plate."
Can you imagine?
God. Luke Musgrave, can someone send him some appreciation tweets tonight?
Yeah.
Please. We're trying to battle back. What's your parting thoughts here, Emilio?
Like you and Tim were both saying there, the defense, if we had that playing on repeat in the locker room, the only way to get that taste out of their mouth is to show up and smack somebody around on the field. That is the only way to do it. You can't you can't make any more words on Twitter. You can't, produce stuff in text. It's not that, dude, you got to show up in those 60 minutes. And that's what I think they're going to want to do. Why are they not going to want to ball? It doesn't have to be for Joe. It doesn't have to be for Matt. It doesn't have to be for Goody. It could just be for them. It could be for the love. If they love the Packers, let it be for that. If they love football, if they just love the game, let it be for that. But at some point, you can shut them up by showing up. And the only other thing I was thinking was, I think it was Matt was talking about it. The defense our offense has seen this defense all in the offseason mini camp. This is, a 3-4, same style. So let's we know how to work around it. We've practiced against it all year. Let's do a couple things that we've been saving. If we have to get outside the box, fine. Let's do it on first and second, kind of like how, I know how that's how we like it, Tim, right? Let's get it out of the way now and get it over with. But the offense and defense, we need a team performance. I won't even bring the special teams into it. I just want Anders to keep kicking straight and Wheeling to keep booting it down there. And that's it. I'm happy with that.
AFAM in the chat said it's time for a fake punt. That's so specific.
I think it's time to not have to punt. How about that?
Yeah.
Let's not punt on Sunday.
Badger Trio said, I just prefer 65%.
65%.
65%. That's what people would, Trio. Omer's got the line of the night, though. AFAM said a fake punt. Omer said, we got a fake defense, AFAM. Get out of here, Omer. What's wrong with you, dude? I'm sorry, man. I gotta do it to you.
Roadhouse.
Yeah, crap. All right, guys, we're out of here. Be back in the morning, 7 a.m. Central, with Daryl Thompson. If Emilio wakes up and he's not too hungover, he'll join us as well. But we're going to be talking to Daryl Thompson. For those of you who don't know, do a little research on him. It's pretty cool. Played running back for the Packers in the early 90s. He was there to kind of watch that team ascend, starting in 92, won 9 games, 93, won 9 games, 94, won 9 games, and 95, I think they went to 10 or 12 wins. Of course, won a Super Bowl in 96. But it's going to be cool to get his perspective on, hey, what was it like in the locker room? When did things kind of click for you? Was it Brett coming in? What was Holmgren like? There's so many angles we can take, and I'm just going to go, Daryl, talk to me. Tell me about 1992, dude. And I'm going to shut up and get out of the way. That's going to be good. So looking forward to talking to him. So appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. This was a fun episode. Sorry for the rant, but we just got to be louder than those knuckleheads, man. Mike Hebring, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. Congratulations to Zach. Appreciate you becoming a member of the PTA Posse YouTube member. If you guys are interested in that, just click on our homepage, click join, and that'll enter you into contests to win autographed memorabilia from Green Bay Packers, something we like to do on here. Also, if you get a chance, hit that like button for us. It'll help Packer fans find this content, find this channel, and kind of boost the algorithm for us. So really, really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
The power sweep actually is the lead play in our offense. We ask our YN or a tight end to open up somewhere between 6 feet and 9 feet, get an isolation with the linebacker. Tell the tackle to take the defensive end if he's over him. If he's not, to drive down on the first man to his inside. If the YN has the linebacker taken out, he cuts inside. If the YN has the linebacker in, comes all the way around. If you look at this play, what we're trying to get is a seal here and a seal here and try to run this play in the alley.